All right, I'm gonna go over these help desk items. I've talked about a few of these off and on. Somebody may have heard about them before. What I got here, we're gonna give these the best shot. We're gonna let you guys be a help desk and see if you can tell somebody what to do. Let's ask a mechanic is you today, so you gotta listen, you gotta evaluate, you think. You're the answer person. And we're gonna say, look at this, we got to see, my name's Stacy, I'm so glad to come across your page, I'll get some answers, I got my oil changed, and the place didn't put oil in the car, the engine got seized, and the driver's side found the engine through rocker rollers were completely ruined, so they ran it without oil, they cranked it up without oil. Replaced them, got a new battery, new spark plug, now the car runs again. The problem is it runs weird, drives perfect. Other times it's slow to start, and I floor it, it doesn't kick out of the slowness till about 25 miles an hour or so. Then I gotta floor it because it seems I can't get enough power to keep the speed, and you gotta been told it's fuel injectors, but it got maybe the filter, blah, blah, blah. So what does that sound like to you? And when you're on it real hard, you ever seen somebody that whenever they've got one that won't start, they change the fuel filter? That don't make any sense. I mean, because the fuel filter is not gonna stop it from starting, it'll stop it from accelerating going on a car. So anyway, make, model, and year are unknown. She didn't give me that information. That's kind of a pig in a poke, isn't it? Give me some ideas. Somebody, come on. What do you think? What about some of the stuff she said? Now, what she cranks and goes, and she has trouble getting in it. You know, in other words, when she's trying to pick up speed, she has a lot of trouble going anywhere.
I'm thinking the bearings are worn out.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't make it. She said when she hits 25 miles an hour, sometimes it seems like it's okay. All right, but this is what I told her. That sounds like a lot, like a fuel starvation problem. If you can get somebody to check the fuel pressure, you may indeed find it dropping under load. Well, anyway, we did all that. She said the fuel filter was what was wrong with it. Now, she had already postulated that that might be the problem. So she had actually, somebody that was fairly knowledgeable had probably come up with that. But what we do when we're troubleshooting something, we're going to decide what to do first. We do what's cheap and easy first. Now, sometimes the fuel filter is inside the tank, and it's the only one on the car. You know, so you got to take that as it is. But if you've got fuel pressure that's dropping out, and you got a pretty good idea that that's going to be where your trouble is, and we've seen that a lot of times. I don't know how many times. One time I had this. It was like a station wagon GM car. It was like a old something or other. I don't remember what it was. And when you'd stop the car, it would stall. And then whenever you'd crank up, it idled just fine. And you drive off, everything drives normally, you stop the car, it stalled. So I got down to the parking lot at the mall, and I noticed when I backed up, it would stall. So it was forward motion that was making it stall. And what I found was, when I checked the fuel pressure, that when I would stop, the fuel pressure would suddenly bounce to the bottom, and it would kill it. Or when I backed up, the fuel pressure would go down. And what I found out, somebody had put a fuel pump in it, and whenever they were fighting trying to get the fuel pump in it, apparently the screen came off, and they just let the screen fall in there, and this thing was sitting so close to the bottom of the tank that when it was at a certain gas level, that whenever the gas would slosh forward, the tank would oil can up and stop up the fuel pump. And it would kill the pressure. So all I had to do was pull this fuel pump back out, find the screen rattling around in there, zip it up on there, and put it back down, and that problem was fixed, because the screen would keep that from happening. Never forgot that. I got a clicking sound like a vent door trying to open or close when the heater's on. To get the heater to blow in warm air, I have to have all the back vents on, and that's the same with the air conditioner. It also has a clicking noise. Is this something I can fix? This is a 2001 Windstar with a cabin heat issue. What do you think? You guys got a real good library of skills. Y'all be able to figure this out, right? I think Nick is cold. What?
One of the fuses, possible.
Making it click? Remember?
Debris blocking the door from closing all over.
Possible. That's not too far fetched. Probably related to some jammed doors. What I was talking about. They make that noise when they try to move the door. So a tech would remove the actuator, try to move the doors by hand. That's what I was talking about the other day, right? If they move freely, the actuators need to be replaced. He says he didn't give me a lot of information coming back, but apparently they replaced the actuator. The gear is breaking on little actuators, and they keep trying to move, and they go click, click,
yeah,
click, click.
Yeah,
same deal. I'm having a problem with my late 90s model GMC Suburban automatic transmission. Had the oil change 2 days ago. Started having a problem when I was driving the vehicle, it starts just fine, but instead of changing gears, it stays in first gear, and the RPMs just increase. Ooh, that sounds bad, don't it? The speed gradually increases, but you can tell it's still first gear. So he checked all the fluid, everything's fine with low on coolant, so he added that. And the idea is for he take it somewhere else. Now, it's interesting to me how so many of these customers, and this guy may have just been at an oil change shop, I don't know, will go to one shop and they'll get some work done and it didn't work right. Well, they won't go back to that shop, they'll go to another shop. And the other shop will charge them a bunch of money, and then they go to a third shop. And next thing you know, they pay this shop, this shop, this shop. Now all the other shops are saying, not me, not me, not me. But if you go back to the original shop and let them try to make it right, you're better off. That's just the way that's supposed to be. But see, they're ticked off with that shop. They don't want to go back. They want to go somewhere else, have somebody straighten it out so they can have something to hold over the other shop's head. A lot of times that goes south. All right. Talk to me. All right. So, PCM either doesn't know the vehicle's moving or something's stuck right off to the shift circuits. Speedometer work, have somebody retrieve the trouble codes, remove the battery cable for about 10 minutes, put it back on and see what that does. All he did was take the battery cable off for 10 minutes, put it back on, it woke up. Now, years ago, well, a lot of the times these computers will do that. They got, all of these things got microprocessors in them, these, you know, instrument clusters and everything else, and PCMs and body control modules. And I don't know, at the times I've, you know, seen that where you just got to reboot the darn thing and get it, and it'll come back online. One time I had this, it was back in the OBD1 days. This lady brought this Taurus in here and it was running absolutely horrible. And I did all the troubleshooting on it, and it was going back to the engine controller. And I went and got an engine controller out of the parts room and put it in there, and it ran like a brand new car. So I left her engine controller laying on the bench. So when she came back in, I could plug in her engine controller. I want the customer to make sure that, you know, this is how we arrived at the diagnosis. When I plugged hers back in after it laid there on the bench and forgot all of its trash, it ran good too. It was one of those things, you know, like when you reboot your PC. PC's doing stupid stuff, you reboot it, everything comes back online. You know? All right, but anyway, I had this guy working over at a GM dealership one time. And he says, thing comes in, cluster's all screwed up, ain't working. He says, I pull the, look at the fuses, nothing wrong there. So I go to the TSBs and it says to reflash the BCM, I think. So when he did that, the cluster woke up. And he went to the technical service bulletins, reflashed it, with the Tech 2, woke the cluster up, and the service manager says, I'm glad I gave you that job because we've replaced 6 or 7 instrument clusters trying to fix a problem like this, and we never fixed one before you fixed that one. So I don't know what they did with the other ones, but anyway, the point is, got a 98 Nissan Frontier 5-speed 2.4 liter 4-wheel drive truck, either in gear or not, needed to sputter when the gas pedal is lightly pressed. Once drive it up to speed, gas pedal leaf halfway down, see he's holding his road speed. I got to replace the wire plug, the trigger cap. Have a K&N air filter was cleaned about a year ago. My fuel filter was cleaned a year ago, seriously? All right, my fuel filter was changed less than 3 years ago. That sounds like a long time, you know? A year ago, the K&N was clean. 3 years ago, the fuel filter was clean. Now, the problem started with the check engine light code and saying cylinder number 4 misfire. That's when I changed wires, plugged that center, still having a sputter. I knew what was wrong with this one because we had one like that here. All right, and I gotta help this guy. One of my guys, well, the guy whose picture's on the window out here, Jesse, his mother's truck was cutting up, going down the road, throwing him a misfire code for number 1. Well, he didn't even pull the codes to start with. He goes, this thing's surging going down the road. And so I said, here's the EGR valve. I said, pull the vacuum line off the EGR valve. So he pulled the vacuum line off the EGR valve, and it ran smooth. And put it back on, and you could still feel the surge in there, right? So I said, he said, what do I do about that? I said, well, the ones that I've seen, they got a little port letting EGR feed into each one of the cylinders. And when you've got one, if it's one of those setups, like on the 3.8 liter Windstar or something like that, if all of those little ports are stopped up but one, when it starts getting EGR, one cylinder is getting all the EGR, and that one starts misfiring. So it's the only one that's working like it's supposed to, but the rest of them are running great. Because EGR drops a little bit of power, you know. All right. So I said there's 4 little ports that feed the exhaust gas to the cylinders on the trucks. One of my students had that problem with his mother's truck. That's where we went. So I imagine port number 4 is the only one that's getting EGR, that's the misfire. So he says, wow, not only does it not sputter anymore, but it seemed like it picked up about 10 horsepower. So he's strapped for cash. How long until I have to pay somebody to clean the ports out? See, he unplugged his EGR and it ran like a new truck. But he could have cleaned the ports out. You know, they're not that difficult to get to typically. And that was about the, see, this is where your memory serves. See what I'm saying? I just happened to remember that. I didn't even look that one up on Identifix. Because I said, you know, this is the same year model as another one we saw doing this. And I did train this one guy, back when I was working at the Ford dealer, that had an absolutely phenomenal memory. He could remember every car he ever fixed. But if he ran across one that he had to figure out for the first time that he had never seen one like it, he couldn't figure it out. You know? And you remember the one that y'all are doing the transmission on right now, before we set the timing, how horrible it ran, and then we set the timing like it was supposed to be. That same guy fooled around and was working on one that was cutting up going down the road, and I kept telling him, set the timing, look at the timing. Well, on that one, it was really annoying because it was one big V6s and a Taurus, and you had to have a mirror down there so you shoot your timing out of the mirror to see this doggone timing mark. And when he finally got around to checking the timing, after he lied to me and told me he'd already checked it 2 or 3 times, he found out it was too far advanced. And so when he said the timing right, he wasted 2.5 hours of work because he was too lazy to set the timing, and that, you know, you work yourself into that. So, I said, I got a 2003 Ford Explorer with that 96,000. The other day, put it in reverse, backed up about 120 feet, got about 20, started bucking. I drove to a parking lot, tried the same routine, kept getting the same thing. Any idea what the problem may be? So he puts it into reverse, and he's backing up, and it's going, Puts it in forward, you don't have that. Can you figure it out?
Gears broke?
Huh?
Reverse gear broke?
Not really. That is, this is kind of funny, but I had the same problem with this on my 95 Taurus. But it wasn't a problem, it was a program. Okay, now what? Normal on some Fords, 95 Taurus would do that. It's a strategy to prevent driver error. Now think about this. You put it in reverse. You put your foot on the brake, on the brake, you put it in back up, and you start backing up. If it takes off and gets to going too fast, what's it doing with you? It's throwing your foot against the gas pedal and you're going faster and faster and faster until you crash. Now, Audi had some problem with that back in the day before you had to put your foot on the brake to put it in reverse. That's why we have to do that now, because everybody was trying to act like those Audis were horrible cars, Audi 5000s or whatever, because a lot of them was running backward. And the problem was people were just putting their foot on the gas, dropping it in reverse, and it would sort of surge back and throw them against the gas pedal and take off. And this independent insurance investigation revealed every one of those was driver error. Nothing wrong with the car, just because the people would put their foot on there. Something else, have you ever drove one of those that the throttle body was dirty on? It would have, and whenever you go to hit the gas, it feels like it's standing on a brick, and then all of a sudden it breaks loose. That's a dirty throttle body. On the ones that are electronic throttle body, you go to give it the gas, if it's stuck in there, then all of a sudden it scares you and takes off like that. And I knew about this lady one time that put her vehicle in reverse and backed off across the road and went into the pond and drowned. And everybody was mystified by that. And as I thought about it, I said, I bet that throttle body stuck. And when it took off, she shot backwards and couldn't get off the gas and went to the pond. She couldn't get out and she drowned in there. And I said, not all Fords have this strategy, and I'm not sure why. Now, we got on Eddie Span had a 98 Taurus, and I said, let's see if it's got the same thing. So we went out in a big parking lot somewhere. We got 70 miles an hour on that thing going backwards, and it didn't do that. But my 95 would. And I knew some other people that had experienced that, but it shuts the injectors off. It's like it kills the, it's like if you're over revving, except you're going too fast in reverse, and they're thinking, for what? Whoever typed in the algorithm. And so it took away, so they had to spend all this money on the transmission, blah, 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 blah. See that? That's like pouring too much fluid in the transmission. It comes out the vent, you think you got a big gasket leaking somewhere, right? All right, I bought a 98 Acura CL30 with auto trans, runs smooth, with directional tires. Directional tires, you know what that means? They're like tractor tires. You got to put them right in the proper side of the car. But the two in the front are different than the two in the rear. When he accelerates and decelerates, he hears a humming noise, sounds just like tires. If it's automatic transmission, put it in neutral, slowed to a stop, see it might be a transmission, it's still there. So he puts it in neutral, coasting, it's still there. But two different sets of directional tires make this noise. And transmission looks good, car shifts smooth, annoying noise. All right. Try switching the engine off with the transmission in neutral. You get this, that indicates you may have replaced the tires, So when you swerve gently from one side to the other, see if the noise comes and goes. Now, who was with me on one of those this semester already? You remember that Impala, the blue one, with that horrible left, front bearing? If it's not too objectionable, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just pay attention. It starts getting worse, probably tires. He goes, he did several things. He put it in neutral, turned off the engine, the same noise, like being on a truck with a tire noise. He drove it, swerved, heard noise change. He changed the rear tires to the front to the rear, and the noise is heard at higher speeds. It's definitely tires. Now, I tell you what happens sometimes. You'll have somebody that drives these front-wheel drive cars and they don't rotate the tires when they should. You're supposed to rotate the tires every time you change the oil, really. But whenever you don't rotate the tires like you should, you'll get some funky wear pattern on the back that when you put it on the front, it sounds like a tractor going down the road. And so, you know, if you look at, I just got my tires rotated and now I got all this noise, then the first thing you do is rotate the tires back to where they were, you know, like back to the front. Sometimes people just go front to the back and back to the front. You know, we kind of like to cross them going forward and straight back and all that kind of, there's a bunch of different ways you rotate tires. But we had one of those here one time. It was on some little Honda car or something. And she said, it's making it sound like a tractor. You can rub your hand over the tires and feel that little bit of a scallop that you got on the back ones. But anyway, we had tire issues. Now, this one here is one. When lights are on and the brake pedal is pushed, all the rear lights except the top middle brake light go out. Yawn a little bit, you'll feel better. All right. When lights are on, running lights or full headlights, cruise control won't work. Cruise control button on the dash will light up and push, but you can't set the speed. All right. When the cruise is on, all the brake lights except the top middle brake light won't work sometimes. Now this person is really gathering some good data. I mean, this is good information, and this is what you're supposed to do. You know, if there's always a customer and they're going to talk to a service advisor, the more information you give that service advisor, if you got a guy that's pretty sharp that's doing the troubleshooting, he's going to factor all this in. No problems with the wipers, headlights, internal lights, turn signal. Somebody said it could be the turn signal multi-function switch. I can't drive it now, but my job depends on it. Ah, it's truly died. Sunshine needs some help. Actually, the girl's name was Sunshine. You know, that's what she said. It may have been a guy named Sunshine. I don't know. Now, like a problem with the bulb sockets. Start by replacing both rear bulbs because that cheap ground problem could be right there at the bulb and they look good, be bad. Examine the bulb sockets for corrosion or heat damage. Same odd, both sides have the same problem. It could have died one at a time. Cruise control would react because the cruise control looks for a ground through the stop lamp bulb. When that ground is neutralized for some reason, bad bulbs, bad whatever, the cruise will react like the brake pedal will be pressed. The brake lights may be getting their ground through the tail lamp filament or vice versa, which would explain why the lights go off when you apply the brake. Replace the bulbs, examine the sockets first. That would be the cheapest thing to do. That's where we're going to start. This electrical stuff, I used to have people come over occasionally, and they say, when I mash the brake, my dash lights come on. I have a mechanic on the other side of the shop. He's working on it. Man, what am I going to do? I mean, when I mash the brake, the dash lights come on. And I say, take all of the bulbs out of the back. So he takes all the bulbs out of the back. Well, don't do it anymore. I said, well, one of those bulbs is bad. So it's only because the filaments are touching on the inside. And it's back feeding through there. He says, you're a foul. You have replaced both rear brake bulbs and everything works like a charm. All she needed was bulbs. You see what I mean? But she's overthinking it a little bit, but this was all good information because it led us back to the right part. So, this guy says, pull the transmission from my Dodge Dakota, had to rebuild it. 96 Dodge Dakota, had to rebuild local shop after reinstalling the transmission. The engine wouldn't start, there's no spark. Truck ran fine prior to the training work. Is there something the transmission hook up to cause the engine not to start? All electrical connectors are intact and correctly tracked. Other than disconnecting the battery, nothing was done to the electrical system. Dave. This is not the problem with this truck, but you want to be careful with one that anybody has been welding on. When somebody hooks the ground to the body and welds on the frame or somewhere, or it can fry the engine controller. And so some of them say, well, we disconnected the ground cable. Well, that don't matter. It can still go through the engine controller because other ground's hooked up. What you do if you don't want to kill the engine controller when you're welding on a vehicle is unplug the engine controller and whatever else, you know. Also, if you hook your ground right there to the same piece of metal you're welding on, that tends to not have that problem. Right? We had one here when we had auto body here, that the Dodge truck that burned up the engine controller welding on. Give it some direction. Check the crank sensor wire. Probably pinched and put the transmission back in and left them unplugged. I did pull the crank sensor last night. Apparently when I inserted the sensor, it picked up a star washer. It's magnetic, you know, it grabbed a star washer. It was laying across the sensor and rendered it useless. I mean, it kept the signal from being strong enough to treatment. I just tell him to check the wires, he'd pull the sensor back down. Now, I will tell you this, on some of these Dodges and some of the Jeeps and all, there is a little paper sticker you're supposed to put on the end of the crank sensor, slide it down until that sticker touches that tone wheel, tighten it up, and when you crank it up, it skins that sticker off of there and throws it somewhere, but you've got your gap set right. I've got a box of those little stickers in there, like if you're putting the same sensor back, but the new sensor typically comes with a sticker spacer on it, and it'll be a sort of a little adjustable thing. My vehicle will not stay started unless I press the gas. It will stay running as long as I keep pressing the gas. Nick fixed 4 of those last week. Didn't you, Nick? Now, you were working on windows and doors and stuff and all that, weren't you? All right. What do you think? What does she need to do? This lady called me one time when I was at the Ford place over there. She actually called, and this dispatcher called me up there. There were no cell phones then. You guys remember when the time when there were no cell phones? I guess not. Anyway, so she calls me up here, and she says, my Explorer won't idle. And I says, go have your son buy this particular part and put it on there and see how that does. And whenever she called me back, she goes, perfect. It was also hard starting too, and it didn't want to idle that. So I said the idle air control was stuck. What it amounted to. I also told her, I says, tap on that thing and see if that cleans up its act. If it does, you'll need to replace that. Some of them you can clean, some you're not supposed to. I'd say the idle air control valve stuck, make sure there's no vacuum leaks, and if somebody cleaned the throttle body to replace the idle air control valve, isn't that tough to do for a rich, smart guy? You were exactly right. Well, that was a lot of information she gave me coming back, but that's what it was. Now, this one here's the biggie. My father has overheated 2 1999 Cavalier engines. The guy that sent me this morning, maybe watching this video. Hey there, buddy. With a 2.2, and I have a used engine from the junkyard. There's a bunch of other stuff he was talking about too, about other things, but I just cut all that out for this. Do you know of a common problem with these engines and why my father managed to kill 2 of them? Overheated 2 of the Cavaliers. All right, so let me ask you this. If you've got an overheater, what you gonna do first? What you thinking?
Check,
If you got one that's overheating?
check the coolant.
Well, he's got full of coolant both times, it's just overheating.
Thermostat.
Thermostat's a pretty good notion, but let's say that he put a thermostat in it and that didn't fix it. I was talking a little bit to Glenn about this one, but I wouldn't tell him what the answer was.
Transmission, maybe?
Transmission. I'm still trying to parse that one. All right. This is where I went, and this is a great resource. I went to Identifix. Hey, why not? 99 Chevrolet Cavalier 2.2, I put overheats. Engine is overheating, lower hose is cold like the thermostat is closed and not allowing coolant in the radiator. 67 of these had to have heater cores.
Oh, Jesus.
The heater core was making it overheat. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Unless you know how this one here is piped, right? All right. 67 with a heater core. Now this is one of the reasons I like Identifix. To all the other guys that have busted their knuckles and done this, in every shop that I've worked in where there's more than 2 or 3 people, everybody's always drawing on everybody else's knowledge. And people will come into my dad's shop over there. Guy come over here one day. My dad had a good sense of humor. Somebody hands you this. Can you check this turn signal flasher? Pulls his pen out and goes, hands it back to him. Put a check mark on it. But anyway, all people always come to my dad, because he had a shop for all those years and everything. But anyway, this particular one, you find out what the other guy knows. And I used to have people that came from National Auto Diesel College were pretty well trained, but if it was something that was kind of unusual, they'd run out of ideas real quick because they didn't work on a lot of rusty junk like we do around here. We a lot of our cars here we got, that we're working on here, we got, stuff. Temporarily take a flushing key and bypass the heater core and hook the 2 hoses together. Drive the car to verify the overheat problem's gone. Lower radiator goes gets hot. If the problem's gone before replacing the heater core, one can try back flushing and see if that fixes the problem. Because sometimes the heater core can get so much rust and crud in it. nothing can flow through. Now watch this is the key. The car uses water from the heater core dumping on the thermostat to get it to open up. If flow is low or not hot enough, the thermostat will not open. So they route the water through the heater core, and then they put it on the backside of the thermostat to open the thermostat. If there's no flow there, there's never enough heat to get that thermostat open. 99 calories. And there may be one on a couple of your models either side of that too. This is a sort of a reasonable facsimile of what I'm talking about here. You see this? There's your heater core. Your water pump along the back of the engine is putting, now this actually is showing the front and all, but this one here is piped the same way. It's going into the heater core. It comes back out of the heater core, and see how it's dumping on the back of the thermostat? You can see how if the heater core was clogged up and there was no hot coolant coming back out of the heater core, it's still going to be hot coming out. You're not going to get rid of all that heat in that heater core, you know, even if you're at the fan on high. But basically, they also want the heater core, and I think they did this on purpose, they want the heater core to get hot enough to where you can have some really good cabin heat. And whenever the cabin heat gets up to a certain level, then it opens the thermostat. They may have done this because they found out these cars didn't produce a lot of cabin heat. I'll tell you something else too. There was a Ranger that came in here. I don't really like talking about the ones I couldn't figure out. That's like a 2000 model Ranger that had about 1 million miles on it. And the old man said that the heater wouldn't cool, the heater wouldn't work. And this thing would run stone cold. And you could put a, you know, the only way you could get it to start to heat up a little bit was block off the radiator with cardboard. So that it didn't, you know, and it didn't always do that. I got lots and lots of miles on it. And then I started doing research online, and there's a lot of people that are saying I got a 4-cylinder Ford Ranger all the way up to like a 2007 model that had no cabin heat. Didn't start out like that. We even pulled the head off and looked at the head gaskets, because those little tiny holes where the water goes through, if those holes were too big, I was thinking maybe it was going through the head so fast it wasn't picking up enough heat. And we worried with that doggone thing. Maybe the water pump, you know, had some kind of issue, but one way or another, we never had it long enough to do a whole lot with it other than, you know, try to figure out what was wrong. It had good flow through the heater core and all, but anyway, it drove us nuts. But anyway, there you go, is that one there, is that the last picture on that. All right, got an empty slide and then a black screen. Okay, tell me something now.
Oh, you wanna hear something?
Yeah, tell me something. He's got his notes.
He be writing.
He writes
Yeah.
some notes, you know.
Alright, if you press the brakes and the dash lights come on, or you're having like bulb problems or anything,
Yeah,
check the bulb. Just check the bulbs.
Yeah, that's a
Just
good
start
thing.
with bulbs.
yeah, that'll be the ones that's got the stop lights and the the brake lights and the tail lights, the same bulb. That's one thing. You got something, Mr. Hands, in my shirt. What's up with that? He got the eye of the tiger, don't he? All right.
Yeah, you had that AC kicking.
It's cold.
Yeah,
Every day.
yeah. That's because it's more sterile in here. There's not as many germs passed around when it's cold in here.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's like a hospital. You know why the hospital's always so cold? When you got a warm place, germs breed there. So we want to have a nice sterile classroom. You ever notice this? You can eat off this table. You know how clean it is?
No.
Why is everybody laughing?
Nah.
Seriously,
I see
no,
dirt right there.
Yeah.
No.